Hello, everyone. I'm sure you have heard things like psychology says. So, I'm going to be talking about what psychology actually says, and it is far from entertaining. Today, I have with me this amazing book called The Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Maté with Daniel Maté, and it speaks to trauma, illness, and healing in a toxic culture. Now, Dr. Maté is a world renowned physician with expertise on addiction, stress, trauma, and childhood development. I read a beautiful passage in this book, and I think that it says things that need to reach as many people as it can. So I'm not going to over explain or analyze any of his words because I'm not an expert in what he is saying. I think he says it beautifully and wonderfully. You will understand it. It is a bit on the technical side, but have patience, re listen if it gets a little tough, and I'm sure you'll get it. So, without any further ado, I'll be reading from chapter 7, A Traumatic Tension, Attachment versus Authenticity, page 101. We can do it. Here we go. I'm reading exactly as it's written here. I have distilled my own list of personality features most often present in people with chronic illness, as observed by myself and many others. Whether a person exhibits one, a few, or every one of these features, they all, each in their own way, speak to self-suppression and or repression. Now here, suppression and repression is basically controlling your feelings, whether knowingly or unknowingly. This is how I understand it, and if you want to understand them a little bit more, you can do that in your own time. Okay, no more of that now. Continuing, I have found them not only present but prominent among people with all manner of chronic illness, from cancer to autoimmune diseases. In no particular order, these traits are, and we have a list of 5 traits that are present in people who suffer with chronic illness. Now, what I want you to do now is listen carefully, and if you see yourself reflected in any of these lines, I need you to start thinking very seriously about yourself and take the first step towards healing. For now, focus and listen. Okay? The first is an automatic and compulsive concern for the emotional needs of others while ignoring one's own. Second, a rigid identification with social role, duty, and responsibility. Third, overdriven, externally focused, multitasking hyper responsibility based on the conviction that one must justify one's existence by doing and giving. Fourth, repression of healthy, self protective aggression and anger. And the last, harboring and compulsively acting out 2 beliefs. First, I am responsible for how other people feel. And second, I must never disappoint anyone. Now, these are the 5 traits. Think about them while I read the next passage. These characteristics have nothing to do with will or conscious choice. No one wakes up in the morning and decides, today I'll put the needs of the whole world foremost, disregarding my own. Or, I can't wait to stuff down my anger and frustration and put on a happy face instead. Nor is anyone born with such traits. The reason these habits of personality, as we might call them, develop and grow to prominence in some people are both fascinating and sobering. At root, they are coping patterns, adaptations originally formed to preserve something essential and non-negotiable. Now, coming back to our world and how these connect, Listen to this. Why these features and their striking prevalence in the personality of chronically ill people are so often overlooked or missed entirely goes to the heart of our theme. They are among the most normalized ways of being in this culture. Normalized how? Largely by being regarded as admirable strengths rather than potential liabilities. These dangerously self denying traits tend to fly under our radar because they are easily conflated with their healthy analogues, which are compassion, honor, diligence, loving kindness, generosity, temperance, conscience, and so forth. Note that these qualities on the latter list, while perhaps superficially resembling those of the first, do not imply or require that a person overstep, ignore, suppress who they are and what they feel and need. True compassion, for example, is an equal opportunity offering granted to others precisely because we know and honor what we ourselves feel. Right? Now, I read this 3 times to fully understand the impact of what is being said. Consider this passage and the traits that were previously mentioned as a wake up call. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Listen to this video again, listen to the points again, and listen to what the Dr. Gabor Maté is trying to say, trying to tell you here, that these traits that are mentioned, these behaviors that are normally normalized in our society as being these admirable qualities, are in fact your biggest liabilities that push you or that lead you towards a rather self-deprecating or a harmful future. Okay? And I am just too much in awe of what this means. So I will not try to explain it any further, and I want you to do that on yourself. Think about it, reflect on it, and let me know if it helped in any way, and I can see if you need to hear more of these things. And thank you so much to Dr. Gabor Maté for writing this. I mean, this is what we all need to hear. The biggest thing that this time, our times, the present times require is a kind of connection to who we are and what we are doing. And we are connected through social network and through many things, but essentially we are all pretty disconnected with ourselves, to be honest. And I've been struggling with that, and I know many people struggle with this feeling of disassociation or disconnection with where they are and what they are doing, and more importantly, who they are. And this is something that makes me think more about what I need to do for myself. And I want you all to also put yourself first, and it is not selfish. And even if it is, and it helps you, let me reassure you that once you help yourself, you will be better equipped to help those around you. So thank you so much for listening to me in this 10 minutes video. And yeah, that's all. And I hope all of you have a lovely day. Take care.